Greetings. I just adjust the camera. Okay, so the previous film was too much light on this side. It didn't come out. We'll try the other side and see how it turns out. Okay, here's the better look of the body if he has turned out. The previous clip, that is a previous video, didn't turn out too well. Okay. And here's the muscle on the fingers. I'm not sure if the camera can catch that. Anyway, so there's a pose going down here. Okay. The chest. Okay, so this subject is posing again because the previous clip didn't turn out. I'm not sure if this one will turn out, but we'll see. It may turn out better. Okay, so let me just adjust this a bit. Okay, so the next subject is on martial arts, and we've got your karate martial arts and boxing types of arts and kung fu types of arts that we're going to go through in my method. Okay, so you've got the boxing blocks. If you were to stand straight, it would be here and here, although in boxing you will stand in a position like this. Now you can have your guard this way, here. In kickboxing you may have it up here, and your blocks will be up here and down here. Okay, so you block this way. There's also what you call pairing in boxing. Pairing may seem to be blocking, but there's a difference. Pairing is just deflecting the blow. Okay, it's done this way, deflecting the blow, just deflecting it. Bang, bang, just deflecting it. Okay, bang, 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 bang. Okay, you can do it with two hands in kung fu. Okay, which is actually blocking with two hands. Okay. In kung fu, you've got the soft side of yin and yang. Soft side doesn't necessarily mean it's weak. It's done properly. The softest thing cannot be snapped. A hard thing like a frame can be snapped easy. Soft doesn't necessarily mean it's weak. Anything, any substance that is soft cannot be snapped. A tree that's fat cannot be broken. You've got to be a genius. You got to really know how to kick or punch to kick a tree down. Fair enough. But small pieces of wood can break very easily with a good kick or a good punch. If the wind comes, it will knock the biggest tree down. If a big wind comes, it can knock the biggest tree down where it's very solid, stable on the ground. Much roots deep, it can tear it apart. Get up bamboo, it's flexible, just bends. Okay? And the wind cannot take it down. It's all about flexibility. The softest thing like the pillar cannot be snapped. Soft things in life are very powerful. So is the hard thing. In Kung Fu, you've got yin and yang, which is the soft side and the hard side. Like I said, the soft thing doesn't necessarily mean it's weak, like outside Asia would interpret it in that type of weakness, which exists that type of weakness, but not in the Asian way of martial arts. In other ways, it may exist in the Asian culture, but not in martial arts when you start affecting it. So your Kung Fu blocks, you'll be going out this way. So you're blocking every attacking the soft side is flowing with the flow, okay, like water, okay, coming this way, okay. In any type of Kung Fu block, you would have this kind of block here, coming this way, so you kind of like flow with it. It is somewhere between tension and looseness, but not towards the tension side, the loose side. But you have to be relaxed. The greatest body that ever is being built, believe it or not, is a baby's body. Not that it can handle combat, but it's too young to be able to know how to fight or be strong enough to do so. But the body is well designed. Just came out of the mother's womb, hasn't had the polluted air in its lungs, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink. It's very fresh, unless its mother has gone through hell in drinking, whatever. The baby's born healthy. You take a hold of its hand, when it's resting, its hand just relaxed. You try to open that baby, same try it. So when you walk, maybe you will never open that hand because it's relaxed. Not because it's strong, it's relaxed. It's all about relaxation, relaxed. In the soft side of yin and yang, which is the Kung Fu that I have understood in history, in certain cavities, books, whatever. There's the hard side of yin and yang. Whereas you can make yourself like a tree, but you probably can't get that strong, but pretty strong, which is basically done developing the body that way, and that is the hard side. So you've got bang, bang, okay? You've got bang, bang. So if you were to come this way, the hard side of yin and yang, and you've got the center, where you combine the two together. Okay? In parry, it's more like deflecting. You're blocking, like I said before. But you've got ducks, moving out the way kind of thing, and moving with footwork. Going this way in boxing, you may see it in boxing a lot. Ducking, okay, kickboxing. You've got your traps. So for example, an opponent is here where you trap him, which is used in a lot of Kung Fu academies. For example, one method is to step someone's foot on someone's foot, so you control his foot and his balance. As you step on his foot, you place your hand onto his hand. From there you grab it, trap it, control his body. So if he's on an angle like this, or the other way, or this way, you control him with your hand. You've got to have a bit of muscle on the soft side again. He can't throw the punch from that foot, it's a long distance, and you will see it. You just move it and you put him on balance, so you won't be able to throw an effective punch. Control his hand, back strength to the temple, and it'll go down to the twilight zone. Okay, the best punch for that one would be a back fist. Okay, there's other type of traps like you trap the hands and you come in. You trap. It's all about trapping the hands so you can't use them, and you come from a strike trapping the feet. There's the beat. In speed, it's not only speed of movement. There's various types of speed that people have to learn both in the martial arts and in the boxing type. There's the speed of the beat, which means to beat the opponent to the attack. For example, an opponent was to throw from the back foot, for example, to make it easy so you can understand it. Coming this way, right around to your head, for example, it can go lower or higher, but we'll keep it basic so you understand. He's doing a high kick to the head and coming all that big circle. All you got to do is just come straight in. The distance between here to there is much shorter with the front foot than it is going all the way here. So you beat the attack, become more realistic, and the distance between here to the foot is much shorter distance. Although you've got to produce power, timing, accuracy, this type of stuff. Everything in the martial arts to be able to perform it effectively, but it can be done like that. Okay? So as he's going in this way, as he's coming around, just bang straight into the kneecap and break his kneecap. Smack. Go down. There is a strategy in martial arts that the UFC doesn't agree with. But I disagree with the UFC, and I'll prove it today. They reckon that using your feet to keep the person out of distance doesn't work in the UFC, and UFC is very much classed as it's very much street fighting. They are wrong in that opinion. I'll prove it today. We're talking about UFC champions are wrong in this opinion. Why? One, because the UFC is not exactly like the street. It is exactly like the street when two fighters meet up and use the UFC strategy. But when they don't, all hell breaks loose. For example, you can grab them and throw them through a window. That's not UFC. That's street fighting. You can grab them and smack them right on the palm. That's not UFC. That's street fighting. You can pull out a big knife. That's street fighting. Okay, you can use your finger jab to the eyes and poke him out. That's street fighting. You don't do that in the UFC. A lot of the UFC is real combat, yes. They use that in the street, but not all of it. For example, keeping a person distance is very effective when you are good with your feet. In UFC, they'll say, this fight has never had success. And of course you will fail in a competition because there are rules. You cannot break that kneecap. It's illegal. You cannot kick them in the groin and drop them down. It's illegal. You cannot poke their eyes after the first attack. It is illegal. Rules and regulations. If I keep a person to the distance, he comes in, smack, I'll break that kneecap. I won't just touch it. I'll break it. He's crippled. He cannot do anything. He cannot do what they do in the UFC. In the UFC, I'm restricted. I cannot break that kneecap because I'll be disqualified. And if the rule says you can break it, then I'm not sure which way it goes. Because maybe you can in the UFC, I'm not sure. They haven't got the power to do that. Because I've never seen it done in the UFC. If I was to just touch the kneecap or the leg here, just to bruise it, the person's going to come in and take me down. I'll be gone down. Because I've struck the kneecap and I didn't damage it, or the leg. Relating to only bruise to my opponent, he can handle that. And he'll come in. Since I'm off the air, he'll put me off balance, take it to the ground, or whatever he does, and I've lost the fight. That's how I lose in the UFC. But natural combat, the person comes in, smack, you're breaking his kneecap, he's gone down and he hasn't come in. Different thing in the street when he's still in that situation. Okay, you break the kneecap, he comes in, you poke him in the eye, you grab him, throw him onto a car, an oncoming car. Forget about UFC. I've been a street fighter in past history. I've never fought many fights other than self-defense. But I've seen many things happen. They don't happen in the UFC. A lot of fighting in the UFC is very much realistic and very much combat in the street, but not all of it is a street. And I don't expect it to be, because we're dealing with competition here where it's skill versus skill, and should be kept with these rules for safety reasons. You cannot just, run a car in the UFC and get someone to turn on a car, you see, or through a window. It just doesn't happen. You're not up there to kill each other. You're up there to learn and learn skill. That's the good thing about UFC, because it's got rules behind it where it protects the fighters, and it's very much the same thing as combat. When two fighters fight that way, but not when they don't. It's not the same when they're done. Okay, so going back to the subjects, as I've proven the point just now, you break that kneecap, he ain't going to come in. Forget it. Forget it. I don't see a crippled man being able to do much other than fall on the ground. Anyway, he comes in, you poke him in the eye anyway. A blind man can't do much. Okay? But that is, if you get them in, you've got to get the technique in. You've got to be good enough to get it in, yes. But it doesn't take much to get the technique into the kneecap, especially when it's coming in. Because he's coming in with force and he can't reverse his decision. Anyway, so the beat in martial art is to beat the opponent to the punch. Bruce used to use that a fair bit. Okay? There is fake, for example, you fake high, and as the person puts his guard up or he does a reaction, whatever it is, you strike line and you break that kneecap. It also does vice versa. You fake or feint low, he does a reaction to defend the line, you strike him into the eyes. From there into the groin, back fist, whatever, coming for the kill or whatever. In both situations, once you break the kneecap, so you fake high, you break the kneecap, you come in with an attack, you get thrown onto a car, no problem. If it's self-defense, I teach women and children to defend themselves against wicked and corrupt people. Wicked and corrupt people will do that to innocent victims. And the only defense is for women and children and innocent men, people, to know how to defend themselves. There's no defense any other way. Violent and corrupt people will do things like that, so they will do it anyway. So it's about time innocent people, men, women and children that are innocent, learn to defend themselves and fight back. Okay, don't do that by attacking people. You don't attack people. It's illegal, and it should be, and it shouldn't happen. You should go to the UFC and muck around there if you want to fight, just for fun, but not for real. But not how you defend yourself. Dirty tactics are alright in a real fight if it's to save your life and you're under attack. Don't worry about that. Clean fights are good if that's what's going to save you. Run like hell is one way. So you've got fakes, for example, he may duck, pretend to duck. He's coming up, he pretend to duck, and then beat him with a parry. For example, this coming in with a roundhouse kick or a punch, you duck, parry, and strike. So you fake the duck and the parry, and you beat him to the punch or whatever. But you've got to be fast now. The speed of movement, for example, if you're slow in your reaction, speed of movement, you've got to be fast. It works with fitness and a lot of training. For example, speed, you just bang, okay? For example, in a position like this, you come in, bang, okay? Come in, bang, bang. And just use, bang, smack, bang, bang. Speed of movement. I'm not sure how fast that was. It's not relevant. That's speed of movement for me. Okay? Then the speed of the mind. If you're slow on your reaction of movement, you can pick up speed by seeing things quickly. So what that basically means is you got to see the opening quicker. So a person, for example, sees an opening and goes 1, 2, bang, fast, 3, and he gets it on the third count. In speed of movement. Speed of the mind will be 1, responding to, rather than, right, let's repeat that. Speed of movement would be something like this. You see the opening, by the time you respond, you think about it. The third time you respond, you're fast enough to get on the third count. But you respond on the third count, and fast enough on the third count. Speed of the mind would be something like, you've got 3 counts, for example. You see the opening 1, and think at 2, and respond at 2, and by the time you strike the person, you strike him at the third count. You follow what I mean? So if it's the same kind of balance in speed, it will be the same time, except one could be faster either way. One might get on the 4th count, one might get on the 2nd, 3rd, whatever. In either way, movement or speed of the mind. You can combine these speeds together, combine things together. Okay, so there's what did we go through? Okay, parries. There's ducks, moving out the way, beats, fakes. Okay. So for example, you're in a position like this, and one strategy is you're surrounded by a number of people. It could be 2 people, it could be 10, it could be 20, that makes no difference. You can even out the odds in this strategy, one-on-one. And that's not asking them to be one-on-one unless they agree. You can ask them, say, fight one-on-one here. If they agree, yeah, but they may not jump here. So what you do is you're surrounded here, say 20 guys. First one that comes in, you grab him and put him in front of you, but you've got to have strength and you've got to control the situation and flexibility and everything, you've got to be ability, and put everybody else behind him. So this guy's in front, and everybody's in behind him here. So you've gone behind that person in the first attack. So they have to go through that person until they get to you. So as you hold him, control him, for example, as in trapping is concerned, let's say before you've trapped him, so he can't move. From there, you can throw him onto another person and grab another person and put them in front. And repeat the circle, or you can strike him, kill him if you have to, throw him on 1 or 2 people, and as the person comes in, grab him and put him in front of the rest. By the time the other 2 people get up, you've thrown him on another person, not the other way out, silly billy, and repeat the circle until all of them have taken down, minus in the odds from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 people to one-on-one. Each time you take one down. So that's the strategy behind that strategy. There's a strategy behind tying that person down in boxing, for example. Okay? Another strategy is that the name of the game of boxing is to wear that person out, tie him down, put him off balance, and you've won at least half of the match. Maybe not 90%. Then you knock him out. So you weaken his legs, knock him out. That's one strategy. So it relies on you having a lot of stamina and fitness, and it relies on you wearing out your opponent. That's one strategy. Very effective if you're very fit. There's another strategy, whereas you might have seen Muhammad Ali do this when he got a bit older. Okay, and he was standing against the ropes of the boxing match, and I think it was George Fraser, or it was the other guy. I'm not sure who he was, but this very fit person, I'm talking about super fit, you can tell he was fit, his body, the way he moved, will come into Muhammad Ali. He was in the corner against the ropes, or sometimes in the corner, depends upon the movement, and he would stay there for hours, not for hours, for a long time. And this guy would come, bang, smack, try to attack him. Muhammad Ali would just stand there. And everybody's thinking, what's happened to Muhammad Ali? All this move like a butterfly, sting like a bee in his younger days, and now in his old days he can't move. And everybody's thinking, he's lost it. He's lost the plot. Even I was thinking that in those young days. You know, what's going on? He's not lose this fight. Muhammad Ali's just sitting there, stopping all the blows. Sometimes he's stopping it. He could take it. And stopping all the blows, as if you ever seen the video, you're saying, what in the world am I talking about? If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I was lost. I was saying, what's happened to Muhammad Ali? And he's going like this. and this man is coming really putting blows and everything. And by about, I think the 8th or 9th or 10th, whatever round, this guy's going, and he's worn himself out. And Muhammad just comes in and goes smack, 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 knocks him out city. Because this other guy had nothing. He had everything. He wasted all his energy in 8, 9, 10, whatever rounds it was. And as soon as he was like this, punching Muhammad like this, you know, it's going, you know, that's slow. From going fast, he was going very slow. Because he had worn himself out, no breath. Muhammad just comes in, paces himself, goes bang, bang, does a few, 2, 3, 4 good punches, knocks him out city, wins the match, and everybody's spun it. Okay, I've got the movie, one of my movie tapes. Okay, that was fight in the heart. Yeah, and we're talking about this man who was fitter than Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was an old man. And he used a strategy to tie the opponent down just by wearing him out. But you've got to have good qualities. You've got to be able to take a punch for one thing and not get hit. That is, you've got to block it. You've got to stop the muscle attacks. Because if you get hit in this strategy, you've got to go down. So there's always something that can get you going down. Okay. Okay, so another strategy is you've got to be fast. You might see Bruce use it, and as you strike here, you come this way. A person comes in, you come bang, 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 bang. You've got to be fast. But I'd rather do the other previous strategy, put people in front of you. Okay, there's a strategy, what's it called? Running strategy. For example, if you've got good runner shoes, and you know people in front of you and they're attacking you, run, run. You've got runner shoes, run. If you're faster than them, you'll get away if they don't chase you. Run to the police station and report it. They're stronger than these guys. They've got guns. Okay, you don't mess up this with the police. You run. These guys are aggressive people. They will rape women, children. They will hurt people. Okay, you've got to, you know, do the right thing. Okay, to defend yourself and other people. Okay. Okay, here's what. Is what my body looks like from all the training or 30 years experience, all naturally. I've never taken a drop of any kind of drugs or anything that's got to do with building. Okay, if you look at the forearm, I'm not sure if the camera can pick that up. I even got muscle on my fingers there. Okay, as you can see there. On my fingers, I'm not sure if the camera can see it. Special weights that I do there. Okay, the back. Okay. Okay, this is the way a bodybuilder usually do it, in this way, or that I like coming out this way. Yeah. The different types of body, according to Arnold's encyclopedia, that I have studied. Okay, there are different types of body. Well, I don't really do heavy weights. I do light weights. Speed and for martial arts. But because I've got the type of physique that naturally grows as bodybuilding is concerned, I get very muscular. I am not sure how big I am, but I have to really look at the film to see. But I'm not small, and I'm not big either. I've been told and I'm not sure if that's accurate because it's very hard to see that in the mirror. I will know when I see the camera. I'll shoot this, but I've been told that I'm between medium to big, very close to big and muscular. Whether that's true or not, I have to check the camera. But I haven't done heavy weights in my life. I've done a little bit of heavy weights here and there, but most of my training is, when it's done with weights, it's done mainly for cutting and for physical fitness, endurance, this sort of thing. Well, physical fitness, and it's done mainly for martial arts. Okay, the calves, I'm not sure if you can see that. Okay, I'm not sure if the camera can pick that up. On the calves, when I was doing a bit of bodybuilding with a friend of mine for a little while, I did a bit of heavyweights, just a little bit. I can lift something like 4 plates this way and 4 plates on that way. And the whole weight section on the bottom, the one that can come up this way, naturally, because I've got strong calves from my martial arts. I've only done it 2 or 3 times in my life. I usually use light weights for that, body weight, and want the calf weight exercises, which is probably medium weight. For that, is the calf, when I do exercise, I usually stand against the door edge, the floor, and do calf exercise. Sometimes I put a bit of weights on my legs. And that's the body. The chest comes up this way. Okay, come up this way. A few poses, I've done many poses, but a few poses I learned from Arnold. Arnold's encyclopedia. Arnold's a very good bodybuilder. I think it was Governor. Last time I heard about it a couple of years ago, I'm sure what he's doing today. I'm a bit behind in what he's doing, but good luck to him. He's happy he's still doing training. It's pretty good. If that guy's got a body like, oh man, would have won a couple of punches from him, but anyway. But he's a pretty good build, you see. What's another pose? I haven't done these poses for ages, and I forgot how they go. Okay, there's one here like this. Hang on a minute. And that one's this way, as you can see. Okay, so that's the body type, a physique. Don't know if it's good or not. I'll check it in the camera in a minute when I finish the filming. The next thing that you've got to learn to do in martial arts is flexibility and warm-ups. Warm-ups, there's no room to do warm-ups here. You can, but the camera's going to go flying everywhere. Okay, if you jog on the spot, for example. So we're going to skip that. But warm-up is mainly to get the blood circulating, so you can be heated up. Excuse me. So you don't get injury. As soon as you get a sweat, that will be enough. Once you get a sweat, another kind of warm-up would be flexibility. Okay, which flexibility can be very much where elasticity is usually used for elasticity in martial arts for high kicks. Okay, in flexibility, it's not how much you can go down. Okay, if you go far down, it means you're very flexible. But to get a stretch, you can get it as a beginner. You just have to stretch the muscles. Okay, come up this way, and what sort of posing could be what we did before. Posing could be an isometric kind of tension. There's exercises in isometrics for building muscle. That builds you pretty big, but not real big. I've done a lot of isometrics in my life. when I said over here, we wasn't talking about weights, isometrics. Yeah, I do a bit of, come to think of it now, I do it from time to time, and I've done a fair bit of it. Isometric is basically putting tension. You can do it on the air, so you put tension and build the muscles. So you're putting tension, pressure. So what it does is it minuses the 8 reps. If you were to do 10 reps or 12, the last 2 is what gives you bodybuilding, development in bodybuilding. So what isometric does is a quicker way of building, but it doesn't get you as big, but it does get you pretty big. And instead of doing all those sets, you go straight to the last 2 in the tension part of the muscle development. But you've got to apply it with weights. And you won't get a workout if you don't know how to do it. It'll be easy. You've got to know how to do it. Once you know how to do it, it becomes very good. Anyway, so flexibility, for example, I'll show you some exercises. I'm not going to show you everything today. My training goes on for ages. It might take me a month to complete the whole 1 circle. That's how much different type of training I do. I can only cover some topic. Okay, in flexibility, I'll show you some exercises. I've got something like 45-50 minutes of exercises in flexibility. Okay, okay, coming this way. Okay, going around this way. You come here, try and get your balance. Same exercise can be performed here. Coming down this way and bringing the foot out this way. And the other side, what you do one side, in all exercises, you've got to do it on the other one. Then of course you can go higher, okay, and work your way up to the high line. Except I haven't got anything high yet to go any higher, but there's other ways of getting around that, which I'll show you. Now, there's a bed here with the camera, can we catch it? Because the plugging is up there, I can't plug in this one, well, it's call it there, but I'll get an extension. But anyway, I haven't set that up today. For example, I'm not sure if this would work, but you can get a frame, for example, but you have to balance it, otherwise the frame's going to go everywhere and go higher. Okay, so you have to balance that. You come up this way, be careful because you can go flying. It's just a small frame, you can break it too. How about this one? Okay, you can get something here that's not steady enough. Actually it is. Is it? Okay, you come up here. You have to kind of like control it because it's not too steady. You come out this way. Okay. You go, come about this way. Just anything, furniture, you can use the furniture for flexibility, you can use the floor. I'm not sure if the camera can catch the floor. Wait, this camera keeps on switching off. Okay. So as then, you go higher because sometimes at the bed there, the frame of the bed, but the camera won't catch it. But another thing you can do is you can come up this way, you come around this way, and then you come up this way. And you just come up this way. And there are ropes, if you're going in a martial arts school, not school, I don't know what it could be at a school, but at martial arts supplies, or fitness places, maybe you'll find it. Okay. You can get some ropes and hang yourself up here. I've got some at the back there, homemade ones, but you can get some professional ones if you want, or homemade ones. You just get 2 hooks like this, put up there, put a rope like this, so you can hold it from one side. The other side, put a piece of rag, put your foot in there, hang yourself up. Although you've got to have a good balance, you've got to know what you're doing with the home equipment, and let's just done properly. This equipment, it's not going to free your leg too much, and it can fall easy. Okay, you've got to have balance. Maybe put it somewhere where you can hold on. Okay, but the professional ones, yeah, guys, right? They're designed to be able to work pretty well. And you've got to need to buy them. Okay, there's some exercises. The forward bend, like I showed before, you can do legs apart. And you go side, side. You come up this way, up this way. But you come straight, straight. Okay. You can balance your leg here, and balance your leg here. Or you can hold on if you can't balance until eventually you let go of the holding and you do it with balance. Another exercise which I've done for ages is a balancing exercise in the form of flexibility. Come up this way, come up here. And of course, as you get better with it, which I can't do it that far, but as you get better, you put it around your leg, your neck, or you can sit down to start off and do it that way. Eventually you can stand up and use balancing routines. Now in martial arts, we need balance of movement. But if you can't do it standing still, how in the world are you going to do moving around? It means to move around in a balanced position. One strategy of combat is to be good with your feet. Doesn't mean you use your feet. If you can do the big fancy movie making techniques, that's what they're there for. For training is different to actual combat. The way you train is different to actual combat. In training, if you do all these fancy movie making, I'm talking about real serious movie making, nothing to do with real fighting. Kicks flying in the air, high kicks, as in flying kicks, you can spin around in the air. Then the stationary kicks, that when you don't jump up, will become more simple, won't they? You master the spinning kicks, it's just by spinning without jumping. They'll become much simpler. You master that, then obviously the forward kicks will become more simpler. You master that, in the high line, the middle will become simpler. The low line will become more simpler than ever, that you don't really have to use all those kicks in the low line, maybe the stomach. And with a very good balance, and very good at your feet, you don't have to use your feet at all. Once you've got the balance, your 2 feet will be movable. You can use your hands in boxing, but you've got the kicks, you've got the balance, you've got the movement of footwork with your feet in such a way that you come up bang and you use your punches effective. It's better to balance with 2 feet than with 1 foot. But if you can balance with 1 foot and fight like that to a certain degree with 1 foot, 50-50 or 90-10 or even way, whichever way, more or less, then the hands and the finger jab, which is straight to the eyes and along the reach, will become more simpler, because you're more balanced with 2 feet, moving around, you're coming up this way. You do your boxing, your karate, or your kung fu in hand techniques rather than feet. But you can use your feet if you're good, there's nothing wrong with that. But you've got to be very good. The feet have to be trained 100 and 1,000 times more than the hands. But if you're training that far, as I have, not only would you be able to use your feet effective, but you have to train it that much. But the hands will become more simpler in such a way that you probably never use your feet, other than maybe in the one line. But your hands will become very effective. We'll talk about strategies.
Greetings. Here's my gym, and I'd like to stress the point that you can make equipment, like for example, if you look at up there, you've got some mittens and some paddings, some Meite pads or whatever you call them. And if you haven't got a partner, you can just hang them on a pole like this, tie them up and go for it. The roof to floor speedball here, as you can see, it's got 3 balls, and those balls move up and down. That's actually got a elastic there, one of those, if the camera can pick it up, one of those elastics at the bottom here, where you spring. See, if I move this, it's like a roof to floor speedball. And it's got a smaller target. There's one tennis ball there, which moves. It's different positions. Okay, Okay, moves up and down. Okay, there's another one, a center one, which moves up and down, and one at the bottom, which moves up and down. Okay, of course I can't move in that because I need 2 hands, but it does move anyway. Now, it's a pretty tight fit. That's why if I move with both hands, it'll move. Okay, so you can put it in different positions, and of course it's a really good for speedball. Smaller target, it's much harder to time with accuracy than one of those big ones that they've got. Okay, so its basic principle is that you can kick it, and you can punch it, you can move it to different positions. I've just started a correspondence course from LA in Jack and Do, Bruce Lee's concept of the martial arts, and it's very much a martial arts in itself. And what was I going to say now? Lost for words. It's a very good course, and I recommend it for anyone. But this equipment that you can make, okay, timing accuracy is one of the most important things in the martial arts you can get. There's other balls that you may have seen this in my previous study. This is a bit high for a giant. I mean, if there's any giant to me, you may get the odd 1 or 2 people that's 6 or 7 or even 8 foot sometimes, but very rarely. There's other targets, and at the bottom here, at this one here, you've got a target there, which is a tennis ball, and you've got a punchy back at the bottom. Okay, which means you can time that and kick the punch back at the bottom. You've got a smaller target here. It's a little bit smaller for the finger jab, okay, where you can use the finger jab there, and you've got other targets in different positions. These targets move. If you look at the string, this unties, and you can put the ball higher or lower, so you would tie it that way. Okay, and here is my latest invention. I call it the Themis dummy. I just made up recently, about an hour ago. Themis dummy, made up the name, but this has been around for a while. And here you've got, simulated hands where you can just, do things like whatever. Okay, I won't demonstrate now. You've got tennis balls where you come in this way, and you've got to dodge it out the way. You see. Okay, you've got other targets here where I just do it softly. Okay, you've got the leg movements here. Of course, no one's got, here you estimate 6 hands and 1 leg, or you can use it bottom 2 for feet, hands or feet on the top or whatever. But it's just different positions when you're practicing. You block these things here, these pieces of wood here, estimating the punch or a kick. And you do your tactics here. Is one of my favourite inventions. Is with the full speedball. It's got all different size balls. Well, the same size ball except for the 2 big ones there, which I'll demonstrate in a minute. And that's very much like a speedball. Okay, but it's got balls everywhere. See, it's a speedball. Okay, and at the corner there, the yellow thing is what I demonstrated last time. Is a speedball itself that I bought, and I put padding on the bottom for the feet. Okay, and for example, the punching bag, okay, you can stand it against the wall, and you can actually kick against, I won't stand it now, but you can kick against the wall here, you see, you can kick down in this position here, if it's standing around here, and have it for the lower one. Of course, you can have it high, like it's usually put high, where I take this off and pull it there, you see. And there's other equipment that I've got, maybe perhaps there's type of gym there, over there, and cardio twister, and a ski machine down at the back, and the bicycle there. The bicycle's not working at the moment, but anyway. And you switch the gym around, and you can do it. But the purpose of this is that you can have your own home gym. All you need is a bit of space, and you'll be able to do this, you see. Now we're going to demonstrate a little bit on some of these equipment. Okay. So, for example, from here you can just come bang this up, you see, and it gives you a different time when the balls come up, bang, okay? And you just come up this way, okay, on the low line, go a bit higher. Just time it, so different targets. Coming this way. Okay, come in. you try to keep your guard up, although your guard can be down here, if you know what you're doing. If you know where your hands are, you can just move around. By having them down, you can see the punches easier and dodge them easier rather than the hands getting in the way of your eyes. For example, your subconscious mind, if you're a professional now, don't be professional, tells you that your hands are down, so watch out. So when you see the punch, you can dodge it easier. Although your hands are up, you can actually defend easier in the sense of blocking or parrying. Okay, you can also duck either way and block either way. But it's much harder to block the highlight from example, one position here. It's really hard to block the highlight. Then from here, all your hands down. But it's easier to dodge it out the way. Here it's easier to block and parry, even duck, really, and move out the way. But move out the way would be better to have your hands freely if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, but to be free to express yourself. Because in this position, keep your hands up for crying out loud. And I recommend that when you start off. Okay, you come up. Okay, and there's a lot of strategies in the martial arts. For example, you fake high and you get blind or bind, whichever one that was. Okay, your bottom line. You imagine that's an opponent here. Okay, it's your arm, although this is not true, but I'm supposed to say it is. In sparring would be much difficult because you have this person fighting you. If this was a person, in this case it's a dead object, but it's half the time with accuracy. So imagine if someone's fighting you and he's got a hand. Okay? So shadowboxing with this, for example, with equipment, will give you the ability to instill your mind to almost a real situation. So for example, if there's a punch high and you beat him to technique is called to beat. Does a punch high and you beat, of course you have to do things faster. For example, concentrate your mind as it does a punch, bang, you beat him to the technique. Okay? So this one here, you just do it gently, okay? You duck it if that hits it, okay? Duck it away, come around. And you've got this thing here for sweat. So then you mention it, mate. And we get back and use kicks. So you can make the tennis balls out of this. The way you do that is you get a piece of wood, 2x1, cut it to a square about 1 inch each, put a nail, put a string there, tie some paper around, A4 paper, with some sticky tape to get yourself a beautiful speed ball, a homemade one. I will show you how this is made in a minute. Okay, you've got other equipment like here. The tennis will come in here, you dodge it, come into the feet. Okay, that's the opponent. Then you dodge it again. This one. Make sure it doesn't hit you. And then you do a swing, a street fighting technique. Okay, keeps the hooks. The hook is generally paid this way, but you can do it with a swing. There's a street fighting line. Okay, you've got the shovel technique coming this way. You've got to be careful when that doesn't get caught before your neck. You've got to know how to loosen it. Okay? So you start gently first. And this went before speedboard, just come. You've got your elbows. You've got the lower top. Your job. Change direction in straight if you want to. And of course this, you can change position here. I have to fix this a little bit more steady than you like. This can go down. This can go up. Okay, as I mentioned before. Okay, but we'll keep it to this position. As I mentioned before, I'm doing a universal degree in check and dart at the moment. And the two primary targets that we learn are the signature to the eyes. The next one is the side kick to the shin or knee. Of course, you've got another one to move up and down here. With openings are there to take advantage of it. Okay, you've got for a giant, supposed to say, but there is a few that are about that high. Maybe a bit higher or lower, but not many. Okay. So if someone is higher than you, and his head's up, he's up here, you're lower. If you look at Mike Tyson, who's a lot shorter than a lot of the boxers before, and what was basically doing was coming in this way. Whereas the meaning is their hands are up here. So to duck back is much easier than for him to duck my punches, which is coming straight up. This has got to go all the way down there past my hand. But me, I'm already under him. So you might duck and come up there. You see what I mean? But if I was taller than him, it's much difficult to do that. But of course, there's other strategies still taught people. But that's another subject. Okay? So I really enjoy this. So I'm going to keep this a little bit and show you a few things on it. Okay, come on. So you can fake the first kick, come from a different angle. The second one, change direction extreme. Come on. Or you come down and up, and you can do that in combination, or you can do it as a fake. So you can miss the first one and shoot the second one. So fake or fake is very much different really, but I've explained it one time. But fake, for example, or fake, you might pretend to punch here and strike bottom line, or vice versa. You might pretend to strike down, not that slow, but in the right timing and accuracy. He puts his guard down, hops in top of his face. You can do combinations, bang! Okay? So you've got the finger jabs here. So you keep your guard up. Okay, or here. Depending upon where you feel comfortable and are good with. Eventually you should do all guard. And eventually you loosen yourself. You just come around. Don't be afraid. It comes in, just fuck it. Come up.
I think we might do a bit more time. We've got another 5 minutes or something here, or 10 or something. So I might do a bit more.
So for example, what I was telling you before, one of these punching bags you can get your hands on one of these punching bags. You get different heights, you know, bigger ones, whatever. Put it against here. Okay? You practice your light kicks. Okay. Of course, you may have to pick up a few times. That's a good exercise, isn't it? Come up. Okay, you can hang it up like I did in the previous film. Okay. You put on the floor. Okay, practice your floor tactics. You can wrestle with it. Okay. You put it back where you was. And all this moving around gives you a good workout. Gives you good exercise. Cut this way, come up, dodge it, come in. Get the top of it hit you. Okay. So we'll just move the camera a little bit. If we've got enough film, I'm not sure. Just move it here so you can see this part. This part here, I've got a partner. You can always hang this equipment up here. Man, where's that? Just hang this up now. Okay, come in. That's your knee. Come up. And that is it. Greetings. In this demonstration, it's more of a lesson to teach people on the punching bag and on the speedball, a different type of speedball. As you can see, it's speedball and tennis ball. You can actually combine that and use two at a time. But the major message, I told you some of this message in the previous clip. That's the reason why I'm saying it again, and that is the first thing that you've got to do in martial arts is practice on the air. Get the speed and everything, good form and all that type of martial arts in the air. And then on things like equipment, like the pads, all different types of pads, mittens, punching bags, this sort of thing. Then the tennis ball, one tennis ball preferred. To be mastered, then get a lot of different types of tennis balls, as you saw in the previous clip if you saw it. Then with weapons as well. From there, what you do is you go back to the punching bag and back things like this. And with the floor speedballs, I haven't got one at the moment to demonstrate. I haven't got one at the moment, but I will be getting it. The idea is that when you learn with the rooster floor speedball with your equipment training in timing and accuracy, you put more than one around like a tennis ball method, and you put them in different positions and you practice the same method to get different kind of timing accuracy happening. From there into the same thing with tennis ball. So I'm sorry, with the punching bags, you move it. Okay? And all around. You may say you do that from day one. Yes. But the difference is from day one, unless you've got perfect timing accuracy, you'll be able to hit the bag to a certain kind of timing accuracy. But for example, if you're aiming here, you may hit it here a little bit. That is the target of where you're originally aiming. If you're aiming high, you may hit it low, or vice versa. So the idea is, once you get the tennis ball timing accuracy and you get the punching ball bag, you can now hit it exactly where you're aiming. If you're aiming in the center, you hit the center. Top as well. And here, wherever you aim is where you're going to hit. Okay? Does that make sense? Another reason why is the tennis ball method, okay, the tennis ball, okay, it's much easier to move out the way. There is a target. This is a lot harder. It's a bigger target that comes straight away, where you have to move way out the way and not just a little bit. It's more towards the size of a human body. You get bigger targets, as in more heavier punching bags, lighter ones. Probably this one's got about medium weight. So you get different feel of different types of training. All these trainings are proper, whether they're basic or advanced, they're all proper and they're all good for learning martial arts. The best one is to do sparring continuously from day one. But anyway, so we'll demonstrate on the punching bag. The deal on the punching bag is, especially if you use the method I'm going to show you, is to hit it exactly in the line. It's like this, it's not there, it's right there. You've got to hit it directly in the center of the bag. And prefer the timing and accuracy where you're aiming. But if you're not going to get it where you're aiming, at least get in the center. If you do it the way I do it and you just miss by a slight fraction, the more you miss, the more you risk the chance of a sprained ankle or even damage your leg. As you will see what I mean at the moment, the bag's straight at you. The idea is, I want you to bag now to show you, but the idea is to actually go through the target as it's coming at you. So when it's up here, this is when you hit it right there, bang. So you've got to time it correctly, directly to the psychic, you see. So as it's moving the bag, instead of waiting until it's there, you hit it right there. Okay? And that will give you more power, more momentum. Okay? But you've got to hit it dead center. Because the bag's coming at you, more swinging, it weighs a lot more than a tennis ball, and you can damage your foot pretty easy. Carpal don't damage it today. I've never damaged it. You never know. Spiders? Anyway, so you come up this way. Sorry for that word, but anyway. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Up the way. You don't want any excellence. Okay, don't make sure there's nothing behind the way, okay? You're going this way. So you come this way. So you come in here and stand. You hit it right there. It doesn't matter if you hit it where I tell you or not, but the more you hit up there, the more power you will receive. As you can see, got to hit a little bit there, see? Coming in here. Watch this. We've got to move that little way at the same time. So that makes sense. You got your ring, so come in. Well, of course, you can move around the kicks. Use combination punches, for example. So you've got to hit it directly to the center of the back, especially when you're not doing any protection. Then come up. So you've got your knees as well, the punches, you've got your elbows. And you move around, sort of like the Muhammad Ali. You've got to go through the target, so you've got to go. Remember, you miss even by a fraction, you can break your hand. Not break it, the sprain. Maybe even break. You've got to, when you're not wearing protection. So
So not only do you have to hit that center, but you've got to hit it straight on. Okay? You've got to develop your fingers. You've got to have muscle there. It's just an exercise which I want to introduce muscle here to take the force on the forearms. Okay? It has to be strong. The whole body has to be muscular, fit, etc. Flexible. Okay? So the next thing I want to show you is that kicks are done in many ways. There's a kick in the front kick that's this way. There's an angled front kick that comes from an angle here. And on an angle here, for example, if the guard is here, you can sneak it in this way or that way, or front, depending upon what the upping is. If the line of attack is closed in one way, you can sneak it in another way. The roundhouse can also come this way, kind of like here, or at an angle on top. I want to demonstrate that now. The cycle the same way. You come out this way, okay? You come straight, or you come in this way. Same with every other kicks. You come on an angle this way to hit with this part of the foot. So you're coming out this way, or with the heel, or that way. Kicking the three basic ones. The original kick and the one on the left and right. Same with the spinning kicks. Same with the punches. For example, the punch will be here, 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 here. The idea is for the body to be in line in the punch, according to the technique, with your body and hip into it. Hip hits the kicks, as well as the shoulders, but more the hips. Shoulders hits the shoulders, but more, and hips, but more the hip. The shoulder, sorry, is the top part of the body. You can do your cutting and jabs. Okay, don't try this in the bag. You haven't got experience, but you can use the bag, tucking up your fingers. In case you miss the eyes, there's the forehead, there's finger jabs, there's palm strikes. There's three types of finger jabs. There's the common one that's used in Jack and No, which is this one. There's a two-finger one, and there's the one-finger one. If you haven't got strong enough fingers, you're going to break them. You don't penetrate like this with the fingers, because you only takes a little bit of pressure from the eyes, and go will blink, then you go, and whatever structure you have to do to take him down. But you've got to put a little bit of power like this in order to stuff in the fingers, so if you miss the eyes and get the forehead, then you're ready for it. Okay? So the next thing is that you can do the same thing with the roof before speedball. Okay? It's more harder in timing and accuracy and stuff like that. Okay? It's much harder to get power, but much easier than the tennis ball because it's a much bigger target. The idea is to hit that center as if it's a tennis ball. Okay? So you're coming up this way. Come in. As you sit there, you do the right target. Okay, you make sure that hits you. Use the padding. I've got a bit of padding here. It's not much padding, it's just a bit of material for the feet. You can also practice the side kicks in the line or the other kicks. Be careful on the other kicks, you can damage your foot. There's still there. Going up this way. Practice on the line. And so on. From there, you can use a combination of both targets. Because one, you want to be careful that one doesn't hit you. Go this way. Move this way. And so on. From there you can have a number of targets. You go for the tennis ball. You have a target like that. So you get different fields of power, different fields of timing and accuracy. Okay. You can certainly fall into one of these tennis balls, punchy bags, and mini as you have graduate to do. Greetings. This demonstration on the tennis ball is with the kali sticks. It's the same thing as hand-to-hand combat, except got a longer reach and it's different distance. You've got to know your distance with different types of weapons. If we get into other weapons today or not, I don't know in this demonstration, but we're going to get into the tennis ball method. So the basic method is simply to warm up first, slowly, okay? As I mentioned in the previous demonstration, gradually increase the speed. Although if you're a professional, you go fast from day one. The idea with this is not to let these tennis balls hit you in any way. Okay, so if you miss it like that, you just relax, you miss it more than 3 times, let's try it again. Make sure it doesn't... So if you miss 3 times, you just cool down, and then also with hand-to-hand combat, except it's much harder with weapons. Not much harder, sorry, it's much different. Depending upon how you have started off training. In the Philippines, they'll teach the weapons first. In other martial arts, they'll teach you the hand-to-hand combat. It's not necessarily what's more difficult, it's necessary more towards what you practice. Okay, I've gone more towards the hand-to-hand combat than weapons. Okay, so from here, just come up. Come up. So if you want to speed things up, once you have a bit of a warm-up, just come up, bang, come in. Just moving that position. Just coming in, because in my strategy of combat, so when there's more than one opponent, keep it kind of like, keep him in front of you. For example, if there's one here, you just strike, okay? But you keep him in front of him, you strike that one, he's gone, and then strike this one, so they're behind this opponent, or to as best as you possibly can do it. Okay, so once these opponents are gone down, if you have to, just move in, and keep these in this position here. So you come in here, and you've got to be very fast in combat, especially when there's more than one person. Okay, and don't get hit like you saw me here in the back. Okay, so there's a person that would have got hit in the back. Okay. So the idea is for these balls not to touch you or hit you in any way. Okay? Of course, it's very hard to do. So if you miss, you make sure they don't hit you. The idea of the kali sticks in the Philippines, there's a method that uses it down here, and they come in this position using different types of movements. Okay, and the way I was using is coming out this way. So you've got the whole area in defense. You're blocking the whole body practically apart from down there, that you can move down or even up. Maybe on the top is a bit not defended, but much of the body is defended in this way. So come in, bang. Okay, so coming this way. So for example, before that was a miss. For example, if you miss, you can line that up. So for example, don't argue the point whether you miss or not. You're in trouble when there's more than one opponent. Just don't argue. You've missed, come in, you can attack. So what basically I'm trying to say is, if you miss, don't panic over it. Use it as a setup. It's no different than fighting. And then strike. So the first attack is just a block, something to hit. The next one, you hit. So what I'm trying to say is, you might have the intentions to hit, and you miss, then use it as a fight. Okay? Go with the flow of combat rather than against it. But you have to have quick thinking and quick reaction time. Very hard to do that. Easier to say than do. So you've got to get back into training in the dojo academy, and then you spare time at home or whatever if you really want to learn these things. Now, these things are stuck up here. Okay. We'll stop the tape now. So it's basically to be in timing and accuracy, and of course you need all the requirements of the martial arts and boxing types of arts to do both hand-to-hand combat and referee. The martial art originated way back from other arts, and boxing and wrestling kind of moves are part of the martial arts, although its name changed in history, and they call boxing types of arts as boxing types of arts and martial arts as martial arts, but really it's the same thing. It's known as martial arts. Greetings. In this lesson is a demonstration of many tennis balls. Continuing from the last demonstration, if you have seen it, if you haven't, have a look at it. It's in YouTube under Themis Documentation, and that's what it's under. Okay, so you've got different targets at different positions, imitating different opponents, and you've got weapons. Weapons like this can become very dangerous because as you strike, it can come back at you. Although, if you know what you're doing, you should be alright, because it's not as if a person is swinging at you. Okay, it could give you a bruise, but if you hit you at the right spot, okay, somewhere, it could do a lot of damage or even kill you. So you've got to have a lot of professionality in tennis ball method. One at a time, and maybe two like this, okay, and maybe three even later on, or maybe like this before you go into weapons kinds of things. Okay, there's other ways of doing things with tennis ball, which I'll demonstrate some other time, okay? So the first thing you've got to do is warm up, okay? Now there's two ways that I know of that you warm up, and that is the main warm-ups. And if you're a beginner to advance, you will have to do major warm-ups and flexibility as well. If you've got the level where I've reached, which is between advanced to professional, master, whatever level you're at that stage of what I am, you can warm up with the main activity. That's basically doing it. To understand it better, you start with slow moves and gradually increase the speed, but you can actually do it fast. I may not be able to do it too fast while I'm warming up, but I can do it fast enough to be safe. In other words, you've got to do it in a way that it's safe, that will not cause an injury. That's the whole purpose. I haven't warmed up today, other than what I'm going to start now. Okay, so you just, for example, for beginners, you just start slowly, okay? Okay, just slowly. And it's possible that when you're really professional, you can just bang, hit it, and go fast. And you don't get an injury because you know how to control the situation, you know, in a safe and legal way, control the combat, if you like, if it's a real fight, you see. For example, if you're in the street, someone picks a fight, and you haven't done your warm-ups or your flexibility or your training, you don't say, excuse me, I have to train today, I have done my warm-ups or flexibility, we'll fight tomorrow. You know, you can try that. The person may say yes and you escape, but I don't think he's going to, if he's got intentions to hurt you or rob you, he's going to rob you and hurt you. You've got to fight there and then, whether you're warmed up or not. The idea is to be constantly warmed up every day for the previous routine that you did yesterday and the days before. And to learn to warm up the main activity. So for beginners, you start off slowly, okay? Just gently, just to understand how it is. Once you've had many warm-ups, the way the martial arts will teach you before the main activity, and flexibility. But once you master that, you can just warm up gently like this, see? Just gently, eventually increase the speed, okay? So from here, as you're more professional, you probably go much faster. Okay, from here, you come bang, okay? And you try for these not to hit you at the same time. So you're paying attention, not only to kick it, but to actually let them not hit you. Especially something like that wood there, which is very dangerous. It's not really if you know what you're doing, but if you don't, it can really come back at you. Okay, see if that strikes you, you really know about it. Okay, you've got to be very cautious not to let it hit you. So I won't play around with that one too well. I'm still in a situation of getting the hang of that one, especially at that height. Okay, so you've got to be careful it doesn't hit you. At the same time, do the striking. And of course, if you have to stop it, you stop it or block it. The idea is inject and dive. Okay, the idea is it's not how you do something in the martial arts. That's how you train in order to free yourself. And you either do the same thing that you learn in martial arts in real combat, or similar or different. You have to adjust to the similar or different if it's a totally different situation. Okay? Now I don't claim, like I said many times before, that I have lessons from the Chicken Do Academy, but I have read the books. Okay? And I have enrolled in the University of Jeet Kune Do in Los Angeles by correspondence. This is my third lesson now. Okay? So look into that. If you're serious about the martial arts, then you would look into something like that. At least look into it. Okay? Okay? So, for example, you come fast. From there you can do things like elbows. Okay? Come in, you do things like these. And of course, if you've got one opponent, you just set up the situation. Okay, tie the person down, go into the opening, bang. Okay, from here. Okay, you've got to hit the target though. Don't use not hitting it. Come here and knock him out. With two boards, you get a slightly different timing, because you see it's like an anchor, and you wobbles like that sort of thing. So it's good for timing and accuracy. And you strike the top one, and the bottom one hits you straight at you. You've got to be careful with more than one ball on a string, that your foot doesn't get tangled on the rope, and you go for a somersault. If you're very flexible, you'll probably be alright, but if you're not, get on out there. Especially with 3 balls. Okay, I want to demonstrate the 3 balls there. But, okay. He used to hit the ball straight on. Bruce Lee always just the point. The power comes from the hip. But you must listen to what was said before that. It was saying how do you get power? And they might have mentioned about kicking or something to do with kicking here. So it's talking about kicking. If it wasn't a mention of that, it's talking about kicking because it demonstrates the kicks later on. Okay? But if you are to punch with your hand, come from the shoulders and line into the punch, okay, and the hip and the whole body. Same with the kicks. Your hip into it, yes, but the body has to be in line. For example, this is an opponent, has to be in line, center of gravity. Boom, you go directly into, for example, the person is standing still like this. To give you an idea, of course, he's not going to stand like that, but for you to understand that. And you hit him straight in the stomach to go up flying the other end. If you're staying on a position like this and you're hitting here, it's force versus force. And of course, I kick you. What trying to be much more powerful than your stomach or your head or something. So it's the center of gravity. It has to be aligned to your power. You have to come bang. Doesn't matter what angle you're doing it, but it has to come in a way that produces the power. It has to come at the right angle. You come in, it's not only your hip or your body into it, it has to be your hip and your body into it, but also in line with the attack. A woman and a child can do that if they had enough practice. But I recommend that women and children, if they ever get into trouble, you've got to understand the whole purpose of martial art is to help you get out of it. Not the man. The man is much stronger. I suggest that I think it's just the eyes, perhaps, kick to the groin and run to the police station. Okay? That is if you have to do that in the very first place, otherwise just run straight there. Although it depends on the situation, if they're going to chase you or not. If they're going to chase you, you might as well kick them in the groin, let them go down the ground for a second or so. When you kick it from the groin, you aim at the head and you snap at the head. You go smack! Not bang like a tickling woman that's in love with the man. Forget it. Wrong word. You got to hit the groin and go aim for the head. I'm not being prejudiced, I'm being realistic to protect women and the children. Same with children. Men are much more stronger in most cases, not in all cases. I've seen a few women that can give it a few guys, not every guy, but a few guys. But I mean, that's very rare. You've got to be able to have power in your punch. That's the basic thing of martial art. Teaching is power. The next thing is time. There's other things like training with punching bags, which we may do later on, and other equipment. From there, it's the tennis ball method. And from there, sparring. Although sparring should be done from day one. Although it's the last thing in the professional level. So another thing is, you've got to be in a distance. Okay? There's no use being out of distance. If I'm too far away, and I strike, I'm going to miss. Even if it's just a little bit of miss, okay? If I'm too close, I haven't got the leverage, the distance to be able to strike properly. So you've got to either make room, create room, or you've got to be in distance. Okay? Being distance is just simply know your distance. Practice it and learn where your distance is. Keep your opponent out of his distance in real fight. Keep yourself in distance. For example, you might have seen me that I was very close with what I did there, but got away with it because I put myself in distance. There's I'm too close, come out and strike this. But not where the power goes that way. Because if you move out of the punch, the power goes that way. You have to force it back. It's like driving a car backwards and all of a sudden put the brakes and go forward. Spin out. So you've got to kind of like come in, as you're coming in, as you're in here and you're coming out, you've got to kind of like drop the power that way. Otherwise, the power goes that way. When you're moving backwards, you've got to come back in through the target. Or in the same manner, there's ways of getting around with it. For example, if you're in combat and someone's attacking you, you still get power moving back. When Bruce said that you can't get power by a punch, as well as the feedback, he said with a punch, by moving back, he's talking about your power, with your technique. Doesn't mean that you can't get it from the other person. For example, if someone runs into you, whether you move back or not is not relevant, but as you're moving back, for example, you just stick the foot out, you run into it, bang! His own power will knock himself out. You don't need any power there with yourself. He runs into it, especially if you hit the right place, the right time, with accuracy. So the idea is like a car running into a wall. The car will be demolished, but the brick wall is much stronger. Suppose you say sometimes the brick wall might be weaker, and the car goes through it. In this case, your foot has to be stronger. And the opponent has to run into it. Your foot's not going to collide, he's going to collide. Okay? You get the point. So, when Bruce said, when you move backwards, there's no power behind the punch. Talk about when you're punching, or in this case, when you're kicking. Same thing, different techniques. But you can produce power by understanding how the person is moving. As he's coming in for you, you punch. If you're coming back, you punch him, and then you run into your hand. The same thing as punching, but let him run into it. Same way as going through the target, you punch him into a mind. Explain that in another case, but I think you will understand that. Okay, thank you.
Greetings. This part of the martial arts is a part where I get to demonstrate a few techniques in combat. So the idea here is to shadowbox. You can do this by imagining one opponent or many opponents. For example, I want to speak so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So from here, okay.